You're listening to the Casual Swinger Podcast. As your hosts, we need to warn you that the material you're about to hear may be sexual or explicit in nature. This podcast is intended for an adult audience. Now, we don't expect you to act like adults. What's the fun in that?
We're a married couple living in Florida with over 13 years of experience in the lifestyle, and we take almost nothing seriously. Casual Swinger is a variety show, meaning we'll cover everything from music to events, travel, and even the occasional hilarious screw-up. Our show is about entertainment. We're not licensed professionals.
Not anything.
And our stories, commentary, and guidance should not be confused with the opinions of a licensed professional.
Now that you know, let's take those pants off and get comfy.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Casual Swinger. My name's Mickey.
And I'm Mallory.
Wow, I could have sworn I did that last time, but you were right.
What do you mean? Oh, the intro?
Yeah.
No, it was me.
I always forget stuff.
It's all good.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to talk today about something that is maybe, I almost called it a little dry, but it's really not dry, is it?
I see what you did there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hilarious. Anyway, this episode's called Slippery When Wet. And this is an episode that's really all about lube and lube safety and probably shit that's going to scare you to death. And this is one of those we gonna learn you episodes.
I was going to say, way to get them to, stay tuned and listen through the whole thing.
Look, fear fucking works. The insurance industry exists purely to scare the shit out of people.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, there's pieces of information here that are a little shocking. And as much as we use lube and have used lube and done a research, even in this, I learned a lot. You did a ton of research backing some of the topics we're going to discuss. And I mean, I was a little shook, but it's one of those things I think you have to take that with a grain of salt. You do.
And I think, from my part anyway, I did just about as much research for this episode as I've ever done for an episode we've done.
I have to give you credit. I'm always impressed with the amount of effort that you put into a subject as you're trying to learn. And this relates not just to the podcast in itself, like everything you've ever done, like stuff with our kids, right? When they were like in school and doing projects and stuff and teaching them how to research. I was very, very fascinated with your methodology, but I mean, you spent a long time.
Yeah, this episode didn't happen in a week.
No, it didn't. I mean, really ever since we did the sex toys episode of for Novelty Use Only, because people were asking questions and we're like, there was so much information about sex toys that we didn't have time to get into lube. And it's
I don't
on
think
the docket.
I don't think we're going to be able to cover this one in a standard length episode. I mean, I shit you not, guys. Lube is the standard in every bedroom in America. Almost everyone uses lubricant. Literally over 90% of couples report using lubricant at some point.
It's $1 billion market.
It is. It's $1 billion market in 2020, and the U.S. uses 37% of that.
So 40% of the lube sold is in the U.S. alone. That's not including Canada or okay.
Yeah, that means that Americans are horny as shit.
Yeah, I gathered that.
Yeah, well, anyway, we're going to dig into this. We're going to tell you guys what we learned, aside from the fact that Americans are horny as shit. But before we do that, we only got a couple days to go to the big day.
Whew, yeah, I get I get my breast augmentation about 48 hours from now.
Oh, boy.
I'm not going to lie. Brutal honesty, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit.
Are you?
I'm nervous, of course. I mean, it's surgery, right?
I just messaged all my friends and said, guys, I'm going to get some tig old bitties to play with.
They're not going to be that big.
Oh,
I think for people don't see me on their regular, if they notice, it'll be marginal, right? I'm just trying to reestablish the volume that I had previously. But anyone I've talked to, and it's only been a couple, I'm fascinated by the mentality that they have, like, oh, yeah, it's no big deal. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's general anesthesia, it's surgery. And
I think that's the thing that scares you more than anything is the general anesthesia.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like me, I'm like, knock me the fuck out. Let's do this. Dude, you're just getting a hangnail fixed. Whatever, do it.
I know it's good for a very short amount of time. I think what bothers me is elective. Am I borrowing trouble from this? Stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just one of those. The only time I've ever been under general anesthesia is when I had an emergency C-section. It was a very, very stressful time. And when I came back from it, I did not handle it well. So I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just pulling from something that was a little traumatic, and like maybe that's why I'm freaking out. Like, I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going through this. Like, the excitement outweighs, the last minute second guessing. That's my personality in general.
Try to look at it this way. If you die, you're going to be asleep. You won't know.
Oh my God. This is why I don't come to you for reassurance.
No?
No.
That didn't help?
That was not, no.
Oh.
I need someone to give me a hug right now.
I'm sorry. The dog will hug you. He's a big hugger.
And he'll be sleeping in the bed with me. I don't know where you'll be, but.
I just got myself kicked out. Well, hey, what about an update on Slutty Summer? How's that going?
It's going okay. There's just some weirdness going on. I know I should be stacking boys, right? Or stacking suitors. And it's just too hard for me. I would think with it being a little ADD that having like these multiple conversations would actually feed that part of me, and I just can't keep up, and I'm not interested in that. So this onesie at a time has proven not to be the most successful pattern, because then, once one's not a fit, and then I move on to the other, it's not layered. And I think that's a more strategic process. Mm-hmm. So I got to find a balance. So since my last hookup, I don't know, about a month ago.
It was more than
month and a half ago, something like that. Yeah, I haven't really found anybody.
More than 2 episodes ago. So.
Yeah, I mean, and there was some weirdness because like we had planned for more hookups, and there's just some weird shit happened, and like you gotta roll with the punches. I am talking to somebody really fucking cool that I can't wait to meet. We just couldn't make a date work before I had surgery, but he did offer to bring me coffee after surgery. So
wow, that is an investment in getting laid right there. Like, I'm gonna bring you coffee when I can't have you, and maybe you'll like me later.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I do think you're onto something there, though, that like starting from ground zero is like every time you decide this is a frog and you're like, okay, ground zero, start over again. And then you take a month of chat or whatever. And that makes for a slow summer. Yeah.
And, lucky us, we've been busy with other things too. So finding dates to like meet people and like pull the trigger has been a little difficult.
Yeah. So. Well, I know last episode I did the whole like what grinds Mickey's gears. And I'm going to tell you guys this time that Southwest can suck my dick.
Oh.
Southwest can open wide and chug deeply from my balls. And I know this is, not you, but so something happened. We went to Nashville. We're going to talk about it in a hot second. We went to Nashville, hung out with Dave and Andy, went to a great concert. We were on our way back, and I had a few masks in my bag. And I couldn't find them. I could only find one mask in my bag. We're at the airport.
So unlike you, because you usually have them with traveling like in the same place every single time, and you have multiples, and you only had that one.
Oh, and I can tell you why. It's because I brought my photography bag with me, and I didn't have all my shit in that bag.
Yeah.
So what basically happened was I had a mask that I bought as a gag to explain, to friends and whatnot, how I feel about the mask mandates. This mask says, "This is bullshit." And it was really designed as a joke, but it was the only goddamn mask I had. So I threw it on, walked through the airport, got high five after high five after high five. Like, you wouldn't believe the number of people that agreed with my mask. But that's really not why I wore it. I didn't wear it to cause a scene or stir up any shit. It just kind of happened. So anyway, we're in the terminal, right? We're in public in the terminal. We're not anything. We're not on the plane, not doing any BS. I knew that I was going to have to put on a paper mask by the time I got on the plane. Fortunately, they had plenty of those to give away. It really wasn't an issue. But in the meantime, I'm wearing my bullshit mask, and a gate superintendent, somebody that just happened to see me walking along, took issue with my mask and came over and flipped shit on me. Said that my mask was vulgar and offensive, which I happen to know what vulgar and offensive looks like. It ain't that. And started waving a replacement mask in my face, which pissed me off. It's like, get out of my face. You don't have to be in my grill, and I'm not going to do what you asked me to do. I'm sorry, but First Amendment says I can do what I want.
Well, you actually said, I think we knew when you put that mask on that you were going to have to change it.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Like, it was just one of those things.
Yeah, I really wasn't worried about changing it before I got on the plane. That's their plane. They can make any rules they want.
Because it's not like we had a lot of time from when we went through security, which was fine, went through the other gates, which was fine, to when we were going to be about to board. And the only reason you had left where we were boarding, because you were about to change it anyways, I was already looking for the paper mask for you because you knew you couldn't wear it on the airplane. I heard you tell them that you were going to change it before you got on the plane.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It didn't from afar, I know you and I know how short your fuse is at times. And you didn't seem physically upset. Like your mannerisms weren't telling me that you were angry. Hers were. So it was a little confusing until you got up to me so I could get the rest of the story. Because I missed what had happened up by...
Oh, yeah. She like ran over and tracked me down and she was pissed. And she was threatening me with a lifetime ban from Southwest. And she said, I can and I will ban you from this airline for life.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not on your plane. You can't do anything to me. I'm not on your property. I have nothing to do with you right now.
Yeah.
And she didn't stop. She just kept. And then she followed me.
I'm over here like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, she followed me over to where you were standing to continue to berate me in front of people.
Yeah, she showed up while we were trying to board. I'm literally handing you the mask, and I think she came over just to like drive it home and make sure that you were gonna do what you're saying you're gonna do. And I guess part of me is like, yeah, fucking people suck, and 90% of them that she runs into are probably assholes and don't listen. But it seemed very aggressive and uncalled for at the same time.
Especially the threats.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a Southwest customer for a long time, and I have a shitload of Southwest points.
And you've been traveling so long, like, you know not to piss off the gate agents. Know not to treat the...
I treat them like gold.
The stewards and pilots, like anyone who's in that industry and services you well.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard me get off an airplane hundreds of times. What do I say every time I get off that plane to those stewardesses?
Thanks for a great ride. Have a great rest of your shift. Thanks. You thank everyone, even if you didn't interact with them.
100%.
Before you get off the plane.
I've never been rude to a single gate agent or single airline personnel ever, but that woman took it upon herself to chase me down and fuck with my day. And then, not only that, threaten to make it so I can't travel anymore.
That was one of the oddest interactions I think we've ever had. Now, granted, you had a mask on. This is bullshit, and she was offended by it. And I think that's could have been where it started.
That's it.
You know,
she was pissed off, and she felt like she could do something about it.
Is it the most PC thing you could have worked? No. But at the same time, it's vague enough. It probably, I don't even fucking know. Maybe, someone close to her died. Who fucking knows anyone else's backstory? But it was so surreal because I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I have to ride back in a car from Nashville, I'm going to be kind of cranky.
Oh, I can tell you that if I was alone, I would have driven home from Nashville out of spite.
Yeah, I know.
I would have told her to eat shit, gotten my money back, and either taken another flight or driven. And honestly, if I didn't have to be back for work. But if somebody from Southwest is listening for some reason, you need to let your gate agents know that when you're inside the terminal, that's public property. They can't say shit. They have no jurisdiction. TSA does.
You know what though?
Gate agents don't.
She waited till we were in line, like waiting to board, the boarding process. So maybe there's some like gray area there where they do have that authority. I don't know. I don't
she's just being
fucking
a bitch.
know. I
could have stepped a foot to the left and she wouldn't have been able to do anything there.
Anyway, this is a nasty little soapbox tirade.
It is. It's my tirade, but you know what?
It's the strangest thing that's ever happened since we've been traveling post-COVID.
Yeah. And
weird.
I'm allowed to think the masks are bullshit when I see a guy eating a bag of chips for the entire 2-hour flight.
I know.
The entire 2-hour flight, he ate chips. Yeah. So he didn't wear a mask the entire flight, but I have to because I'm not eating.
We wore a mask the whole time. Like we got out, of the car before we walked into the property. Even though you don't like them, you always abide. Like you do it because that's what we need to do right now. Yeah. And I'm looking around the airport at the gate. People are sitting around, and I want to say they're like 20-25% of them aren't wearing masks at all, like not even hanging off their ears, not eating. The couple across from us, they were talking. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're just not as
they were on their phones,
diligent here. And that's coming from a fucking Floridian.
Yeah. And that's just it. I honestly think they're bullshit. I don't care. It's
Hunger Games here.
Yeah, we don't care. We've never had COVID in Florida.
Well, Florida's just fucking Hunger Games, period. It's been that way my entire life.
May the odds be ever in your favor, folks. Welcome to Florida.
Anyway.
All right, back to happy shit. Let's talk happy. Enough with what grinds Mickey's gears. We took a weekend to ourselves, weekend before last. This is right after we talked to you guys last. And I surprised the beautiful Mallory with a trip to the Keys.
Oh my God, it was fantastic. A little stressful. I was in Chicago for work that week, but the Keys were fucking amazing. You got some amazing shots down there. It was just absolutely beautiful weather.
Yeah, I had fun with the camera down there. Not only taking pictures of you, because some of those came out sexy as shit.
Thanks,
I was really excited. You're a really, 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 really great subject.
God, I love the way you see me. Bless you.
No, as a model, you're a pain in the ass, but you're an amazing subject to take pictures of.
I'm not a diva. I just don't know what I'm doing. Like, I can tell my hand what to do, but then my face and the rest of me just loses it. Like, I have a large appreciation for models. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who thinks that's not work, fuck you.
Well, here's where Mickey fucked up, though, right? Talking about myself in the third person, but it was lobster mini season. I put that in quotation marks. Yeah. We didn't know. So I was like, why is this fucking hotel room so expensive? We get down there, and it is assholes to armpits, people from literally Key Largo all the way to Key West.
Yeah, it was crazy. I've never seen the Keys that busy before, and now I understand why. And it was just traffic. Like, we weren't asshole to armpits anywhere we were at, but we weren't fishing for lobster either.
No, and we were staying off the boat ramps. Like, all the stuff that I kind of fantasized about us doing, like taking some kayaks out, or maybe getting a boat, like, or renting a boat, or going out on a snorkeling trip. Fuck no. Yeah. That stuff had been booked for like years in advance.
I did check my field a couple times.
Oh, did you? In the Keys? Just to see if Granddad was interested or what?
It was interesting.
Is liver spotted penis turning you on?
The demographic was definitely different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Much different. Older. But anyway, and then the very next weekend, which was this weekend, we went down to Nashville, as we just talked about. And the reason we went was to see two of our favorite Red Dirt bands.
That was the best damn concert I've ever been to in my fucking life.
It was really good.
Oh my gosh. And we get to see it at the Ryman.
Yeah.
I mean, would you call it Mother Church?
Mother Church. That's what they call it.
Absolutely see why. First of all, the pews, fucking cool. Sat next to great people. Awesome show. Two of our favorite artists. The acoustics were outstanding. Just all in all, a wonderful night. Our bartender, Cheryl, shout out to you, lady, getting me nice and drunk.
That was our girl. She was amazing. I tell you, the staff at the Ryman was just top notch. Even when they had to go up and talk to somebody who was doing something they shouldn't be doing, they were nice.
Oh, yeah.
They were just nice. And some people in authority positions, you know, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe people treat them like shit. They're just dicks, like that nasty bitch at Southwest. But in my case, like, when I was looking around seeing some of the security, like trying to tell people, hey, don't stand on that, hey, don't do that, they would say, hey, would you mind getting down for us, please? They were so cool. And it was just, everyone was so nice in Nashville. The food was great pretty much everywhere we went, which had a lot more to do with Dave and Andy, I think, than it did Nashville.
Oh my gosh. I got the best food tour ever.
Yeah, it was really good. I feel like I gained weight, but I actually lost weight while I was there. But even the food at the douche country Mecca was good.
Sorry, I was just mocking you. I did not lose weight while I was there.
But we went to the douche country Mecca, which was Florida Georgia Line's bar.
Okay, so do you have to, like, this is like the have to list, like, once you air quotes make it in country music, you have to own a bar in downtown Nashville?
I think so. I think that's what you have to do.
Yeah, because it was just like a whole row of them. I found that very strange.
Yeah. Oh, like, and on our way out, I think we passed Miranda Lambert's bar, which was just like this
Jason
cotton
Aldean's,
candy pink ugly thing.
Yeah, Jason Aldean's, and they were saying Old Red, which is Blake Shelton's place?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, and they all have a bar, and they're all commercial as hell. I think, honestly, they have nothing to do with them. If I really had to guess, I'm guessing
maybe
most of them.
Maybe it's part of their holdings, per se, and they're just...
You know, somebody runs it, and their name is on it, and they get a percentage. It's probably like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I found that odd, because I thought there'd be more, like... I guess I didn't know what to think. I'd never actually explored downtown Nashville, so.
Well, and I really hadn't either. I'd been to Nashville, but I just pretty much went to the Opry, did some music shit, and left. But I think that Nashville is a lot like Florida, that no one in Nashville's from Nashville.
We only know one.
Yeah, one. Dave. He's the only one. And speaking of Dave, huge thank you to Double Date Nation, Dave and Andy. They drove us everywhere. They went out and even got Mallory some vodka to cure her hangover.
Oh my God. I feel like such an asshole. This is how fucking nice these people are. So we tied one on the night before. I ended up with a migraine the next afternoon. I tried to cure it with an orgasm that just made it worse.
3 orgasms.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was pretty bad. So I'm like, I think I need hair of the dog. And in my head, everyone has vodka. Like, I just needed some alcohol is what I should have said. Like, just a shot of alcohol, whatever's available.
Oh,
and
sorry about that.
You went and told them, hey, vodka. And I guess they just, no problem, went to the store, got it.
That's Dave. Because I was like, Dave,
I got to be careful.
Some vodka? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, great. He's like, I'll be right back. And I thought he was running to the garage. He did. He got in the car and he left. And he went and he got vodka and he came back.
Oh my God, I'm such a dick.
But it did help with your headache.
It did. I mean, but at this point, I was like, whatever works. Shot of vodka, half a gummy, some Tylenol.
My God, you were medicated as hell.
A gallon of water. I drink so much water. Like, my piss was clear. Like, I was so well hydrated.
Our listeners are so happy to know that. Anyway.
Well, because that's the first thing you do with a hangover.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You got to rehydrate. That's true. Anyway, we had a great couple of weekends, minus that nasty shit from Southwest. We had a great time in Nashville, thanks to Dave and Andy. And without further ado, I think we should probably get out of here, tell people where they can find us, and we'll come back with Slippery When Wet, because there's a lot of information in this episode, guys. But you're going to want to stay tuned for this. This one's worth it.
Yeah, man. So we are Casual Swinger everywhere. You can reach out to us, Casual Swinger let me rewind that. Podcast at casualswinger.com. I know who we are and where our mail goes to. I promise. You can find us on social media as Casual Swinger. That's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And you can also find us on the dating sites, Double Date Nation, Cassidy, SLS, and STC.
There we go. Folks, we'll be back in a hot second. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.
Well, hello there, Casual Swinger listeners. This is Kate from the Podcastapalooza events, and I'm here to tell you about our PCAP Encore event. Unfortunately, Mickey and Mallory from Casual Swinger can't join us, but we are heading to Dallas in November from the 5th to the 8th for a 3-night full hotel takeover. We're heading back for PCAP Encore, and we would love to invite the Casual Swinger listeners to join us on site. If you're interested in shibari classes, erotic sip and paint, sensual massages, couples yoga, seminars from some fantastic content creators, drag bingo, we've got the works, we've got a club visit happening as well, and as I said, it is an exclusive full hotel takeover. If you're interested in that, head to podcast-a-palooza.com and come out and support the amazing content creators. We had so much fun in Miami that we can't wait to come back again for a smaller, more intimate event, this time round for PCAP Encore. And of course, if you guys are die-hard Casual Swinger fans, don't worry, we've got something for you guys coming in 2022. We have got some things up our sleeve, and we know that Mickey and Mallory are fantastic, and we can't wait to have them come back and join us again for another PCAP event. So thanks to you guys, thanks to all the Casual Swinger listeners. We love you guys. We can't wait to have Mickey and Mallory back again, and we hope to see you guys soon.
And we're back. Thanks for listening to Casual Swinger, and have a nice day.
All right, yeah, we're done. Nope, we're far from done.
Just kidding. I'm Mallory. I'm here with...
I am the Mickey.
Yes.
Forever known. The Mickey now.
The Mickey.
Yeah,
right.
Fuck the other one with the ears down here in Orlando. Nobody cares about him.
Didn't put 2 and 2 together.
God, just get on my level.
Yeah. So Slippery When Wet, huh?
Slippery When Wet, all about lube. There's a couple of things about this episode that we want you guys to know. First and foremost, most important thing, we're not here to sell you more lube. After for Novelty Use Only, a lot of you guys went out and just like chunked all your sex toys and bought a bunch of toys from Casual Toys. We really appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. We want to be a source, a reliable source for you guys to get good stuff. But at the same time, when we do stuff like this, we're doing it for you, not to sell you stuff. So
Amen.
We don't pander or push shit on you. Not what we do here.
Yeah, and we're not trying to scare you guys either and like make you go through and throw all your lube and everything you have away. This is just kind of us sharing what we've discovered and found out and how we own a toy store. And I've been using lube since, I don't know, I was 16.
Yeah. And you know, you think about it. I mean, so you don't have to go necessarily throw your lube away, but maybe there are some things about your lube that you don't know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you might be having side effects or issues that you've blamed on something else. Mm-hmm. Right? Or like, man, I'm so sore after sex last night, or I keep getting yeast infections, or I keep getting vaginosis, and I think it's because of X. Like you yell at your husband to go take more showers or something, right? I mean, you have no idea. And it could be what you're putting in your body during sex.
Could be.
So here's the thing. In 2012, the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, issued an advisory note highlighting concern for the effects of lubricants on women's vaginal tissue.
I'm really glad you clarified that because I started playing the song from CSI.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right? Well, I don't have a lot of love for the WHO right now, but there are a lot of things that they do that do contribute to world health. And it did highlight concerns in terms of the pH, which is the balance that we're going to talk about here in a little bit of certain things, and osmolality, which we're also going to talk about here in a few minutes, of these liquids that we are in some cases injecting into our bodies.
So we haven't really said shit about it since, but outside of the, some of the glamour and Cosmo articles, the government really doesn't get involved in this testing. And this is stuff that we put inside ourselves. So I want to say that we're a little surprised, but not, because we found the same thing when we were talking about for novelty use, right?
Yeah.
There's some parallels
for
here.
Sex toys, there were just like a lack of information. And what I found when I started researching lubricants, there's a wealth of it, but it's all 10 years old for the most part, or it's blogs or Glamour or Cosmo or something like that. And there's all this information out there, yet so many customers we talk to in casual toys have no idea what they want in their lube.
So when I was looking at some of the information you posted, and then I was doing some research on my own, there is a plethora of information, and it could be one of those things that there's so much information available that it gets lost in translation. Like there is such a thing as too much. It starts to cloud the judgment, right?
That might actually be it. That there's just so much out there that people don't know what to look at. So we're going to try and isolate this for you and narrow this shit down a little bit. We're going to start with the basics that you probably already know, or at least you should. Maybe you don't. We're going to talk about it first.
We're going to do it anyways. You can fast forward if you're like, this is
you're like, fuck it, I know all this stuff. Fuck you, Mickey. But what is lubricant used for? You thought we were going to say sex, didn't you? Well, obviously sex.
Yes, definitely sex.
But lubricants are about comfort, ease, protection from friction. If you're a woman and you've ever been to the gynecologist, you know all about this. As a matter of fact, they probably use Surgilube on you. We're going to talk about why Surgilube is really fucking bad later.
Hey, and not to forget you guys, if you ever had a prostate exam, same thing.
Oh, yeah. Man, that doctor had big fingers.
Yes.
Whew, very uncomfortable. Anyway, there's 3 primary types of lubricant. Mallory, you want to take the first one?
Yeah. So we're going to start with water-based. This one's really common. It's probably the most popular. Definitely washes off easily. The viscosity is not as thick as some of the other lubes. But it does get sticky like once it's exposed to air. So for some people, the lube that you're using, if it seems to lose its slickness in a short period of time, it's probably water-based. Because when you think about it, especially if you're actively engaging in intercourse, it's in and out, in and out, in and out. So it's being exposed to air intermittently. So the slickness may wear off pretty quickly
it gets
with those.
Tacky and kind of gross.
Yeah, but it's sex toy safe. It works with all types of condoms. So like as far as that's concerned,
and it's primarily what we're going to talk about today. It is the most popular kind of lube, and it's certainly the one that's the least expensive as well. But the other thing that I would say about water-based is it's really bad for hand jobs.
Yeah, well, because again, it's exposed to air, so you don't get to retain that slick or slipperiness, right? That surface tension. Yeah.
But because it's used externally and on a guy, generally speaking, any water-based lube is going to be fine. It's not going to bother a guy. Whether it's fragranced, whether it's flavored, irrelevant, it's fine. Oil-based lubes, which are pretty much the least popular, least common, but most natural.
Also great for hand jobs.
Amazing for hand jobs, coconut oil in particular. Coconut oil is actually a very popular sexual lubricant that is oil-based. It moisturizes and lubricates as well as working as a lubricant. Or a sexual lubricant, rather. But common types, coconut oil, olive oil, mineral oil. You just really need to be careful when using oils down there as a woman, because huge side effect, very common side effect is yeast infections.
Yes, because I mean, when you think about it, we use like a term like oil and water, right? And I think most people can visualize that. So you have a glass of water and you put some drops of oil on it and it rises to the surface. So if you have a layer of oil and water underneath and then add more liquid on top of that oil, water, for instance, you're going to see displacement happen. So what's going to happen inside of your vagina is it's going to displace moisture, which is not good for you. You have natural mucosal lining down there. And if you add oil to it, it's just going to throw down your entire ecosystem down there.
Yeah, it is. And what she's talking about is the epithelial lining or your skin, right? I mean, the mucous membranes.
Mucous membrane versus epithelial, but it does inhibit both, right? Because you have the external parts like your little beef curtains or your little meat flaps, and I mean, I'm being real. Like sometimes those can get really sensitive to even these natural oils.
They really can. Now, the thing about oil-based anything, mineral oil, baby oil, coconut oil, olive oil, any oil is going to break a latex condom in minutes.
Oh, yeah. Bad
It takes
juju.
no time.
That will make the baby.
In a bad way. So never use an oil-based lubricant with a latex condom. Oil-based lubricants are sex toy safe. And by the way, our unique condoms are not latex, so you can use those with oil-based lubes if you want. It's the only plug I'm going to put in this whole thing. But what else? What's the next one?
So silicone. Silicone is, varied. Probably more so than you think. They're definitely not all the same. It's the slickest lube, in my humble opinion.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. That you can get. It stays slick even underwater. A lot of people use it for, shower sex or hot tub sex or anal sex, right?
Right. If you're having sex in water, silicone is the way to go.
Yes. I mean, it's really hard to wash off sometimes.
I came 3 times last time. Just trying to wash it off.
Safe with latex condoms, right?
Yep.
But however, straight silicone is not necessarily sex toy safe. That's important.
But it's not necessarily not sex toy safe either.
Right.
It's kind of a huge misconception, right? Everybody says, well, they'll stick together or it'll destroy the toy. No, not with platinum or medical grade silicone toys. They might get a little bigger, but because they'll absorb it. But that's about it.
For a long, if you're using it for a very, very long period of time. But if you have good hygiene with your toys and you wash them directly after, you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We've got tons and tons and tons of listeners and customers that use Uber Lube with their toys, for example, and it's perfectly fine. Yeah. So nothing to worry about. But much like everything else in this world, whether we're talking about water-based, oil-based, silicone-based, or even hybrids, which are a blend or a combination of water and silicone, which is a little better for silicone toys. If it's cheap for a reason. So you could probably stop listening here and not buy cheap shit, and you'd be okay.
And, I think quantifying cheap shit, because that's a bit of a harsh statement. It could be interpreted several ways. But,
I'm in a mood.
I look at it this way. I'm putting it inside of my body. And we're so conscientious as a culture these days. Like, look at all the stuff that's non-GMO and organic and free range and no parabens, no sulfates. And we're gobbling this stuff up because we want to treat our bodies better, right? And that's our effort. I think if you're a person who's diligent about what you intake through that orifice, you're probably going to be very conscientious about what you do in your others. And that's kind of, I don't know, maybe that sounded very shitty now that I draw back on what I just said. It's just something I want to take care of my vagina.
But I think that same thought and feeling leads people to use things like coconut oil, and that can actually cause issues. If you use coconut oil regularly as a lubricant, you can absolutely have issues with yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, things like that. But with all these words that end in osis, I think we should probably talk about a few terms that you're going to need to know for the rest of what we're going to talk about to make any sense.
All right, kids, get out your pen and pencils. This is the vocabulary section of our show. There will be a pop quiz at the end, so I hope everyone's ready.
And that means that Mallory is going to make sure you pop. So,
more work for me, but I'll like it.
All right, you want to take the first one, Mama?
Sure. So the first one's osmosis. And the reason this is important, you'll figure it out here in a second. So osmosis is the process by which molecules pass from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. So I make jokes about learning through osmosis, which means I stand there and I just absorb all the information. So you think about moisture transferring from one area to another, just passing through a membrane, like a very, very thin-veiled membrane.
And that's going to matter in just a second. But before we get to that, we're going to cover something that's really, really, really important. So if you guys have been tuning out because we're using big words, I want you to pay attention to this one because this is the one that makes a huge difference. One of the two things that makes a huge difference when it comes to your lubricant, pH balance, which is the measurement of the acidity or the basicity of a solution. So basically, is it acidic or is it alkaline? Is it basic?
Yes. Yeah, you have acidity, neutral, and alkaline.
Yes. And it's super important inside your body. You have a pH in your body. Now, everybody's pH is actually slightly different. So inside your body, there's a range, and we'll talk about those here in a second, but those imbalances in pH, because you put something in your body, can lead to discomfort, irritation, infection, even worse, right? It can lead to some very bad things. The pH of a woman's vagina is between 3.8 and 4.5. A good lubricant should match it if at all possible. Definitely don't vastly exceed it or come in way under.
Yeah, and ladies, if you are wondering and don't have a litmus test to work with, Mickey will volunteer. He will be your taste tester, and he's right 99.9% of the time.
That's right. My tongue is a fabulous litmus test. Turns out, though, pH above 4.5 can actually put you at a much higher risk for bacterial vaginosis. Now, for anal sex, pick a lube that's in a pH from 5.5 to 7. And we'll talk about osmolality here in a few, but the osmolality should match your body as well. What is osmolality?
Oh my gosh, I can't even say osmolality.
It
reminds me of that song from Pete's Dragon.
No one.
Passamaquoddy. Sorry. So it's the measurement of the concentration of dissolved substances. So you have a solution and then stuff that is combined, right? So you're this little mixologist, and the shit is now suspended in it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
More or less.
So the epithelial layer of the skin, so you have the mucous membrane, and the body's natural mucus are constantly trying to maintain homeostasis, or the equilibrium of osmolality.
Balance.
So it's balance, right? You have a perfect ecosystem built into your body. So when you add something to it, it could potentially change it, which is why matching that could be very important to avoid those other things. So this directly affects the integrity of all the tissue down there.
Yeah. The reality is we can actually, if you put something that has a dramatic pH imbalance and a dramatic imbalance in osmolality, it can literally cleave the tissue from your body and leave you in a situation where you're actually much more susceptible to infection.
Right, because we just talked about osmosis. It could displace that moisture.
Yes,
potentially.
and make you drier.
Make you drier, which makes you prone to friction, and that can cause micro tears, fissures, heat, even burns, slight burns down there when you think about the friction that's created because motion with two pieces of mass rubbing together, tender vaginal tissue.
There you go. And that opens you to STIs, STDs, any normal infection that you might have. It's extremely important, and we never talk about osmolality because a high osmolality will actually cause your body to purge moisture. It will dry you the fuck out.
Yeah. And I've always said that, spit, there's a reason the spit forms on the opposite end of your body, right? Because it does actually dry you out. So if you... I'm just getting grossed out by spit right now. It's like one of my ticks.
Never ever spit on Mallory's pussy.
God.
Public service announcement.
Because it does dry you out because of the pH and the other balances in your saliva. It will dry you out.
Yeah.
It's not a lubricant.
So since we're talking about osmolality, I'll throw in the osmol. The osmol is a unit of osmotic concentration. Basically, it's the number by which we count osmolality. So it's counted in milliosmoles per kilogram of water. So basically, you'll see it expresses a number from anywhere between 0 to 10,000 in some cases. And keep in mind, your body is somewhere around 350.
Okay, so on the scale, so the higher, is that better or worse?
Worse, really bad.
So low numbers are better, high numbers are scary.
Yeah, high numbers are like filling your pussy with sand.
I'm over here, and I can tell I'm getting a little chirpy because I'm like, oh yeah, the Count from Sesame Street. I'm over here counting osmoles. 1 osmol.
2 osmol. Oh my God.
Because you keep saying we. I was like, who is we?
God,
are we part of a...
It's a wonder we have any listeners anymore.
A band now? So there's a term in here that I didn't know, the hyperosmotic. It's a substance with higher osmolality than the liquid in your body.
Exactly. So if it's got more than your body does, right? A higher osmolality than your body does, then it's hyperosmotic. And there's a center point and there's a low point. The center point is isoosmotic. And then the low point is hypo. So if it has less osmolality than your body does. And what you want is something that has the same osmolality as your body, ideally.
Or lower?
Lower isn't necessarily good either, but it doesn't hurt you as much as high does.
Okay.
because what it'll do is the moisture will not be absorbed into your body. It will stay outside of your body.
All right. So I'm going to put the brakes on this real quick because I got a question for you.
Lay it on me.
So we're going to give out a list here in a second of the average osmolality of blah stuff, right? And what I found out is that no one uses osmolality in conversation ever.
Because it's a difficult word to say.
It is very hard.
That's probably why we ignore it, and all this information's out there that no one's listening to.
Honestly, I would have never given a shit if it weren't for the research you had done. Because it's not like you flip over the back of a bottle of something X product and it gives you what it is either.
No.
So
they really don't. And it's not listed. I don't think I've ever seen a bottle of lube that had this information listed. But just to kind of give you guys an idea of the different aspects of osmolality. So tap water has an osmolality rating of 3. That's 3 milliosmoles.
Depending when you live. Sorry, Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, sorry, Flint. Yeah.
Silicone Organics. One of my favorite lubes is got 106.
Yeah, so it's very, very, very wet and stays that way. But then you get into, for example, human blood or human semen is between 285 and 380.
Wow. And something that was really scary because it's readily available, Astroglide KY, 6,000 to 10,000 osmoles.
That's like stuffing your pussy with sand. It's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, KY and Astroglide are shit. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But just to give you an idea what some of that stuff is. Now, something else that matters, and I felt like I needed to cover this for you guys, is that a lot of these lubricants, and I don't know why, they feel like this is a good plan because they get called out on this, and it isn't good. But FDA cleared versus FDA approved. So the FDA either approves or clears a product. Lubricants are almost universally FDA cleared, not approved.
Right, because they have to in order to go on the market if they're going to be mass produced and sold. Right.
Well, yeah, because what they want is they want to be identified as a medical device. So when they become cleared, they're identified as a medical device, and that gives them validity. It gives them, hey, yeah, this is a good product. But it has never been tested. There was a product that was tested by the FDA, and this is similar enough to that tested product that these products go through no lab testing whatsoever in a lot of cases.
That's so strange.
Yeah, so the FDA clears it because it's similar, but it isn't actually FDA approved.
So the approval process, if I'm reading this correctly, it actually requires a ton of testing, and it's a high cost, right? Because I think we covered this on the Novelty Use episode as well, that when they do that, a company would have to pay up front for all of this, and it could take years and years and years and hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions.
And I tell you, we were looking at starting our own lube line because we had something we were wanting to do, and it was like $150,000 to do it right.
Yeah,
in testing.
I don't have that many dollars.
No, I don't have that many dollars for that sort of thing. But, I think that lubricants are confusing in a lot of cases because they use a lot of terms. And just like sex toys, they use terms that sound really good and they sound very appealing and body safe, like paraben-free and cruelty-free, vegan and natural. And
or this chemical, whatever, free. Yeah.
Right. Well, and those chemicals, we talked about those for Novelty Use Only. Some of these chemicals are very common, but not necessarily for the inside of a vagina, like DEA, which is a wetting agent in shampoo, or gluten and glycerin, right? Glycerin is really common in flavored lubes.
Mm-hmm. Well, so is gluten, believe it or not. So if you have celiac or gluten intolerance or sensitivity, that's just, hey, FYI, flavored lube is not your friend.
Yeah, it's not. And, flavored lube a lot of times has sugars in it as well. So it really doesn't belong inside you. Flavored lube should really not be used for sex. No, we haven't really said anything like that yet in this episode, but flavored lubes are not for sex.
No, I would definitely not. They're a lot of fun for blowjobs sometimes, but you really shouldn't use them for sex. And I wouldn't even use them orally near the the internal structures of a woman.
Don't
I wouldn't
put it all over
it.
the pussy and eat it. But I tell you, it was funny. The folks I think from System Joe said that they actually at trade shows they put their flavored lubes on ice cream because they're so healthy and so good for you that they just eat that. I'm like, ugh. I don't know if I can do that.
It's an expensive way to get ice cream toppings.
That's what I think so.
Just blew my mind.
But hey, how about propylene glycol? Propylene glycol is a preservative that is in everything. It's in so many things, but it's also in antifreeze.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But things like sorbitol, sulfates. Here's one that's really, really common. We see this from all the parabens.
Everywhere.
Yeah, no paraben free. What the fuck is a paraben?
But you know what? it's another preservative, right? But it's a disruptor to your endocrine system.
Yeah.
Which is why everyone's like, paraben free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's one that was really common when I was growing up.
Oh, and your endocrines deals with hormones. I don't know if I added that. Sorry.
You didn't, but now you did. So when I was growing up, they were like, every condom said, now with nonoxynol 9. Nonoxynol 9 is, basically every condom.
How fucking old are you?
Fuck off. I'm not so old that like condoms weren't a thing. I've always had to deal with this bullshit. But yeah, so nonoxynol 9 is a spermicide. And it can contribute to tons of types of infections, including UTIs. The irritation associated with it increases your risk of contracting STDs and STIs. It is an irritant, and it really doesn't belong in lube.
Right. And as a general rule, anything that disrupts like your natural protective layers, right, inside and outside, you're at higher risk for those transmissible diseases, period.
Fact.
And that could be shaving down there, FYI.
Oh, yeah.
Shaving down there puts you at a higher risk.
Freshly shaven skin. You got little micro tears. Yeah.
By the way, you were talking about how old you are and the condoms and stuff. When my grandmother died, did I tell you we found reusable condoms?
What?
Yeah, because it used to be you could buy them reusable.
You turn them inside and shake the fuck out of them, or what?
Wash them.
Wait a minute. So were any of them open with like old man penis in them?
I had to read the label, what was left of it, like in like this, and it came with a little case. And everyone in the room just they fucking cleared the room because they did not want to believe my grandmother had sex with condoms.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm going to need therapy after that. I knew your grandmother. That is not okay. You have just ruined my fucking day. I'm not going to masturbate for a week.
She got fucking cool points for me. I mean, that's gross. Like, I can't blame them for not wanting to use them since you had to wash them out. But, yeah.
All right. Anyway, so let's talk about things that you should not use as lube, because there's a lot of stuff that gets used as lube that shouldn't be. God damn it. That's down the list.
I have to say it first because it's the grossest one.
Mallory hates spit, guys.
I do. Ugh.
You would think it'd be okay, but it's not, right? It can spread infections such as STIs, STDs, right? If you are a person that has cold sores, that can also spread cold sores. It can have wildly different osmolality than your partner and actually dry your partner out in some cases too.
Yeah. Common one, Vaseline. This one's a dangerous one.
Yeah, and again, I know we're not really picking on old people too hard, but a lot of elderly people, when Vaseline first came out, people did use it as lube.
Vaseline was used for everything.
Yeah.
But it's petroleum jelly, and petroleum jelly comes from petroleum.
Yeah.
It is not for internal use whatsoever.
No, it can cause infections. It absolutely wrecks latex condoms. I mean, they're just done in seconds. Vaseline, bad call.
Yep.
Right? Don't slather your kids down in it like my grandmother used to do to us. It's bad. Something else that's bad, lotions or soaps. Like a lot of lotions and soaps contain fragrances, which can be really irritating.
Well, soaps tend to be drying as well.
Mm-hmm. And many lotions contain parabens, which can be bad.
And other chemicals and fragrances and alcohols and, I mean, you name it. Read the back of your lotion bottle right quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's all kinds of shit in there. And what I can tell you is, as a guy that jerked off with lotion a lot when I was a kid, especially because my aunt had tons of lotion around. And
was it fun to get in your pee hole?
No, do not get it in the hole. It is bad.
Shampoo.
Oh, you try to get it out as quick as you can. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, not okay.
Did you just pee it out? Did that make it feel better?
There really wasn't any reliable way to get it out. You just kind of kept whacking it and hope for the best.
Oh, ooh, God, you're a soldier. Because I'm thinking about getting soap in my eye and I'd stand there my eye open, let the shower water run against it, which probably didn't really help. But
that wasn't as horrific as the time that I was getting a hand job from a girl, and when I started to come, she kind of pointed it away from her and came in my own eye. That was really not okay.
That's fucking epic.
No, it sucked. I had a puddle of cum in my eye.
Pew pew.
Oh, no, she sat there and laughed. I'm like, get me a fucking towel. Don't sit there and laugh at me. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Be friends with her.
You are. I was married to her. So it's an awful thing. Stop laughing.
I knew I loved her.
No, fucking awful.
That's great.
All right, back to the subject. How about butter or lard?
I cannot believe we have to say this. I don't know what Puritans or Amish folk are listening to this show right now.
Can you see Helga churning the butter and then just being like, here, let me slap some of this on my gunya and we'll go to work. Like, ugh. No, it can lead to huge infection, like massive, life-threatening infections to put an organic something in your body, right? Because, I mean, we're like truly organic, a food substance inside your body, it will turn rancid if you are not cleaned properly afterward.
Yeah, that's same thing goes for coconut and baby oil, by the way.
Yeah.
That is an organic,
Baby oil's not. Baby oil's just bad.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I said olive oil. Maybe I did say baby oil. I meant olive oil and coconut oil, and those natural oils, they're also not good because they can turn. They go rancid. If they go rancid on your shelf, they'll go rancid in your body too.
100%. Right. And so that last one, of course, is baby oil, destroys condoms, huge risk of infection. It's not natural. Here's the thing. Just stick to fucking lube, okay? We're going to tell you about some good lubes here in a minute. Don't get creative. If you want to use a coconut oil or a mineral oil or an olive oil, they are acceptable, but cleanliness is hugely important. You need to make sure you take care of yourself. And that cleaning up process, especially if you're going to use like a douche or something like that, can remove your natural bacteria and expose you to other infections.
Exactly. You have a tiny little ecosystem in there.
And like a little galaxy into of itself where...
Pretty much.
Maybe there's little civilizations on your uterus.
Every girl can relate to this. If you've been on extended antibiotics, totally disrupts the ecosystem down there, and it's pandemonium. You don't get to have sex for like a week.
Don't get to have sex. This is how Mallory thinks, folks. She's like, I don't get to have sex today.
Oh, I will do everything to protect my little ecosystem.
I love your ecosystem.
Yes, because I want all of the sex as much as possible. And this is actually a great segue because you were mentioning those other substances, and there's a difference between lubricants and moisturizers.
That's true. There's a personal moisturizer and there's a lubricant. Lubricants are applied seconds before sexual activity.
And moisturizers are actually proactive. Like you have to do it like 15, 20 minutes before at least.
Mm-hmm. And you can apply it regularly for that matter. It's a personal moisturizer. It moistens that area. And some products kind of are bidirectional. Uberlube is a good example, right? It's a personal moisturizer and it's a lubricant. A lot of people are big fans of it. So I think that one is definitely kind of one that straddles it.
Yeah, and I have to thank Kate because, she's the one that first introduced us to Uberlube, I think, in a conversation. And the more I use it, the more I learn about it, the more I kind of love it.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute when we talk about good lubes because there are a few of them.
Sorry, just had to plug it right there.
Little plug for Uberlube. But let's talk about bad lubes.
Yeah, the bad lubes. Anything flavored or fragrance. We kind of touched on that here a few minutes ago. Really great for blowjobs, fine for hand jobs. Sometimes you get a 2-in-1 there, use the mouth and the little twisting action. Guys love that.
Yes, I do.
And even in occasional use, but I would avoid them as a lubricant for penetration for those reasons because they probably have the sugars and the alcohols and other things in there that are just not good for you. Plus, they'll create additional traction or friction that won't feel good for you. They'll create those tears and fissures and, again, just knock you off your pH on top of it all. So you have the immediate effects and the longer-lasting effects, and it's no fun.
Yeah, and I think that there's probably a lot of guys out there that have gotten kind of, props in their mind. Like, she's like, I'm so sore the next day, and you're like, yeah, dude, I fucked that pussy. I'm still bouncing back and forth and going through some machinations. I feel like I have a latex sensitivity, but I also feel like some of the lubricants I used to use were part of the problem. Yeah, I guarantee it. I think a lot of the people that think they're allergic to latex had an issue with their lube.
100%. You and I. We were using Astroglide when we first met.
Oh, that shit is garbage.
And how many problems did I have?
Tons.
Exactly.
You had yeast infections. You were sore. I was always
sore, to the point I was going to the gynecologist, and I should have only had to go for my yearly and before we really started swinging, for my checkups for STIs. But I was going because I thought I had PID, which is pelvic inflammatory disease, because sex started to hurt pretty consistently.
Yeah. Well, I don't like Astroglide enough that I'm going to take it out of the store after doing this episode. And it's still in the store today, but it's not going to be after today.
Yeah. And
it's because it sucks. But, so KY and Astroglide are the two biggest names in lubricant, period. And they're shit. Shit.
Right, because of the parts per million with the osmoles and osmolality, they're so high that...
Get into it, yeah. Yeah. It's shit. I mean, they're cheap and they're available at Walmart and Target, but they're shit.
Yeah.
So avoid them because they're shit.
They're just not.
But I can tell you why,
Yeah.
right? So KY was made for inserting medical devices. It's not meant to stay slippery for long sessions. It's kind of sticky, but it actually gets worse. So one of the things that KY contains is something called chlorhexidine gluconate. It.
All right,
you want me to say
spelling
that
bee
again?
champion. No, go ahead.
Anyway, it kills healthy bacteria in your vagina. You have a bacteria in your vagina that it kills, and that bacteria is one of your natural defenses against chlamydia.
Yeah.
If you use KY, you literally are 100 times more susceptible to chlamydia. Holy shit.
Jesus criminy.
Yeah. So another thing is, the pH of KY is okay, but its osmolality is 3,300, 10 times higher than the recommended level from your vagina. Just nuts. And if you're trying to get pregnant, KY is pretty much the worst for what's called sperm motility.
Right, because of that osmolality, what they'll do is they'll literally stick to it like glue.
That's it. They stick together and they die.
It doesn't help
The
them
tails
travel.
don't swim. Yeah, dead.
Yeah.
They actually recommend
Like a
you
glue
don't
trap.
use any lubricant if you're trying to get pregnant.
Right, because it acts like a glue trap.
Yes. But there are lubes that, like B-Baby, for example, things like that are made to help with sperm motility, but that's just kind of another issue for another day. But the best conditions, just so you know, if you're interested in getting pregnant for sperm survival.
Yes, let's tell all the swingers out here how to get pregnant. Yes.
Oh, maybe we should just skip that part, huh? I don't know. Maybe one of you is trying to knock off a crotch goblin. And that's pH of 7.2 to 8.5, which is actually a good pH for your butthole, and osmolality of up to a 360. So we know that's way out of the normal pH. It's just one of those weird things. Anyway, Astroglide fucking sucks too.
Yeah.
So
it's bad for getting pregnant. Yeah, pH is a little on the higher side. Not bad, but the osmolality is just so high.
It's fucking cosmic.
Yeah.
8,000.
It'll dry you out. I think that was half my problem.
Yeah. Welcome to the Sahara.
Yeah. So pretty much anything by wet also. And I migrated to wet platinum. That was kind of one of my go-tos there for a while. And it's
Which was
also
okay because that one was silicone.
Yeah, it does have a higher pH,
Mhm.
like really, really high, and a high osmolality. So it may have had something to do with how irritated I would get after using it. So
I think you're right.
and it's fascinating because all of these can be found at any Walmart, Walgreens, Target. I mean, you name it. But we did find one that was decent that you can actually run out to the drugstore and go get.
Yep. Good, clean love.
Yep.
So we'll talk
it's
about
not
that
expensive.
in a second. No, it's not. It's cheap, and it's actually really good.
Yep.
However, some other lubes that didn't make the cut, according to the World Health Organization, by the way, there's in the show notes, you can find a lot of the research I did here online, including these notes from the World Health Organization that'll tell you the actual osmolality and pH for many of these lubes that are available on the open market. But Surgilube, for example, what your doctor uses, crushes good bacteria. You should be really careful for a couple of days after you go see your gyno.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not, I wouldn't recommend, having sex right afterwards, but that's what Surgilube and KY was intended for, right? The insertion of medical devices and, exams.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't meant for sex.
But some other names, maybe you haven't heard some of these, maybe you have, things like ID Glide,
I know that
Maximus,
one. Yeah.
elbow grease, gun oil.
Yeah.
Foreplay.
Gun oil surprised me because gun oil's
Yeah.
gotten pretty popular.
Yeah, gun oil's gotten a lot. I think the bottle looks cool with people like that. But let's talk about some good
It's very
lubes.
masculine.
Yeah, right. We're pretty much an hour into this thing, and I knew we were going to go a little long. Oh, hi, yeah. I knew we were going to go a little long, but this is a really important episode in terms of the content for you guys, so hopefully you'll bear with us here. The good lubes, and there are some really good ones, and some of these we actually don't even carry in the store, so I'm going to tell you about them because I think they're great. You wanted to start with your personal favorite?
Yeah, and we carry these because they're my favorites. Slick Good Naturals and Slick Good Organics. Once I found these, it was kind of like a come to Jesus moment where I started to identify some of the all other sensitivities I had to the latex condoms now that I had replaced this because I was using these for digital masturbation, so just me and my hand. And I absolutely love them. Intimate Earth is another one that I gravitate towards. They make a great line of lubricants and personal massage oils. I have super sensitive skin, and I've had great luck with these guys. The way they're designed, that they have excellent pH. In fact, Intimate Earth has perfect pH and osmolality. And they take it very seriously, and they're also organic. Then the one we just mentioned, Good Clean Love. It's a big box brand, but it's good shit. So if you do buy your lube from Walgreens, Target, wherever, I know it's at Target for sure.
Yeah, we carry it in the store too, but I'm just saying if you're out buying whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you need lube, Good Clean Love's on the shelf at Target, and it's good shit.
Yeah. And this one, Uberlube. Like I said, the more I use it, the more I love it. What were you telling me? So this is, again, a privately held company out of Illinois.
It's a family-run company.
And they took the extra steps for the testing, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, they did. So they are an FDA approved medical device.
So not just cleared, approved.
Yeah, the Uberlube is crazy good. It has 0 osmolality and a pH of 4.5.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, there's no water in it. It's just perfect. It's well reviewed by our community. We sell a shitload of it in the store.
And it's both. It's a lubricant and a personal moisturizer as well. So you can use it either way, which is crazy. I don't think there's another product like that.
I didn't feel the need last time we used Uberlube. I didn't feel the need to clean up after. It just kind of absorbed into my skin. It was just nice.
And you know me, if we use lube, especially with toy play, like I have to go clean up. I can't. I wish I could just lay there like a dirty girl and just go to sleep, but I can't. I have to feel clean when I go to bed. And some of the silicone lubes, man, they're just a pain
Swiss
in the
Navy
ass.
leaves you a sloppy mess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
my
like straight
suitcase
silicone.
was sloppy mess too. I think we used that for the pool games at PCAP.
Oh, we did. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
The bag leaked and we had silicone lube all over
It
everything.
was fucking hilarious, actually.
But I tell you what, another one that's actually really good that nobody's ever heard of is Sutil. Sutil Luxe in particular is so good. It's got a great pH, a great osmolality. It's got a great price point. They also have a couple other versions of Sutil, but Sutil is an excellent lube. It's a premium lube.
Sutil.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of that, or the other one, System 20.
System Joe.
I'm sorry, System Joe. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Yeah, System Joe you probably not heard of, but I tell you, one of the things I like about System Joe is they do a really good job of talking to their customers, and they're really honest when they do. So they actually have a show on YouTube that they do where they talk about lubricant really honestly, and it's just a lot of fun to really watch somebody speak honestly to their customers, which I like about System Joe.
Sweet.
Which is pretty cool. So this was not a complete list. I'll be honest with you. Some major brands did not respond to me when I asked for information on their product. They just kind of gave me the runaround like they didn't want to give it to me.
They probably want to know, like, who's this weird fucking guy?
I think they didn't want us to do this show, period, honestly. I think some of them didn't.
Maybe, but I mean, think about the people who answer inquiries on the other end and how they triage that and send them out to other departments.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine being the intern, getting that question and deciding where that goes?
I guess I can.
Tell me about the osmolality of your lubricant, please.
Well, I think what we're going to do is ultimately I might have a rep from a couple of these companies on the show.
I would love that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk to them directly and make them answer for their inability to answer a
like
simple
an interrogation
question.
Can I be the bad cop?
Oh, sure. You make such a good bad cop. You'd be like, are you upset? I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings?
Yeah. I can try.
You're a horrible bad cop. So here's a couple of things that you guys need to know, because let's just pretend, that we didn't just give you a who's who of our best toy or our best lubes at Casual Toys. It's certainly not a complete list. We will update the list as we go. But what you need to know, good lubricant should be a few things. Good vaginal lubricant should have a pH between 3.5 and 4.8. It should have an osmolality between 335 and 1200, no higher than 1200. None of the harmful chemicals that we talked about earlier. No antibacterials, no water, water-based hybrid silicone based on preferences, but those chemicals we talked about, can't be there.
Yeah, and a side note, since you're mentioning antibacterials, no spermicide on your condoms.
No.
For a woman, the spermicide, even though it's not a lot of liquid on the condom visibly, it does throw off your pH really, really badly. So just
not just that, it kills
there.
the good bacteria in your vagina.
Yeah.
Kills bacteria in your vagina.
Spermicide in general, and I know a lot of people still use them in practice for sexual encounters, and I know it's another defense against pregnancy. I'm opposed to them because I've had horrible side effects to those chemicals.
Yeah, and I think your body is your guide, right? If you're having a problem and you don't know why, this could be it, right?
Yeah.
So a good anal lube is an entirely different pH than a vaginal lube, which means if you're going to do some butt sex, you need a different lube than you use for vag sex for a lot of reasons, starting with the fact that the pH should be somewhere between 6 and 7.2. should have roughly that same osmolality of about 335 to 1200. And it should be hybrid or silicone, and preferably a gel to maintain viscosity and not go running all over the damn place.
Right.
Because anal cavities,
they don't self-lubricate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no lube back there, so all you're going to do is damage.
Fun fact, your poop doesn't not like slide down there. There's a bunch of muscles that push it down. Like it doesn't just like shoot out.
How do we always end up talking about poop on this show?
I was listening to an old episode of Dr. Drew After Dark where I think one of them, Christina P. was convinced that farts push your poop out. And it was funny. Anyway, sorry.
Excellent. Great to hear. All right. Well, how about for hand jobs or masturbation? Because we talked about vaginal lube. We talked about anal lube. For hand jobs and masturbation, guys will use literally anything to jerk off.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, my favorites are some of the like coconut oil, honestly. Because I can also or the hand job lubes. They're specific for hand jobs.
Usually water-based.
They're usually water-based. And if I wanted to give you a little blowy while I'm jerking you off a little bit, I can do both, and it's no harm, no foul.
Coconut oil or flavored lubes. Lubes are good for hand jobs, but of course they're not good because the air gets to them and they get sticky. Our favorite is obviously coconut oil, but if you're using a toy like a Fleshlight or maybe the Be Handy from Blush, use a water-based lube. Water-based lube is going to work really well for what you're doing, and it's easy to clean up. And that's kind of the key part for using a masturbator.
Well, I was going to say, because you're using the masturbator, so it's got less air contact with the air, so it's not going to dry up as fast.
It'll stay slicker longer.
But if they don't like water, would a hybrid be good for that as well?
Yeah, it's just going to take longer to clean it up because it's going to be a little slicker, a little longer. But honestly, as a guy, growing up, I would have used 10W30 to whack it if I could have found it. I would have used anything. It's good to be a dude.
You're such a dude's dude.
I am. I'm just a guy.
I can't judge. I was like grinding on the corner of the mattress.
Oh, yeah?
Trying to get off as a kid. Yeah. I found my bean really early.
Well, look, guys, whether you use what we said is a good lube or the right lube, it really won't surprise you if you'll know if it's good, because the problems that you've been having, whether it's soreness, irritation, redness, pain, vaginosis, yeast infections, any of these things that can come from having a pH imbalance or an improper osmolality substance inside your body and then having a vigorous activity like a dick ramming inside you over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And if anyone's, I feel like I'm super sensitive and I've been trying to work this out over the years. And my best advice to anyone, because now I'm being more diligent about it, is to remove one thing at a time or isolate the incidents. And if you're going to change things, change one thing at a time. Because if it fixed something, you want to know what fixed it, right? So if you replaced your toys and the same thing's happening, and you replace your lube and the same things are happening, then you change the type of condoms, and then maybe something changes. Do one thing at a time.
Yeah, process of elimination.
Yeah.
And, obviously, I think a lot of people did go out and change out their sex toys. And I've heard from some of you who are, vastly better off today because you did make that change. And some of you are still having some issues. And that's when the light really came on for me that maybe there's something else. And then lubricant was the next, logical step for me to try and help you guys, is to say, okay, let's look at your lube. So just changing out your lube for the next thing on the shelf, bad call. Do a little homework and see what you got. Or you can just go, fuck it, we're going to listen to Mickey and Mallory. And if you're going to do that, then the answer is pretty much Sliquid and Uberlube. Sliquid and Uberlube, you can't go wrong. And if you're going to go to Target or Walmart, Good Clean Love.
Yep, agreed.
It's just quick. Now, I can give you a bunch more, but if you just need me to just give you the answer, that's the answer.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Now, by the way, Sliquid makes flavored lubes. Those flavored lubes aren't good either for sex.
Yes.
Flavored lubes and fragrances are bad in a vagina. Don't do that. I think that's pretty much the cliff notes on the whole episode, right?
Yes.
Don't stick random shit in your pussy if you don't know what it's going to do.
Correct.
How about cucumbers? Are cucumbers okay in a vagina?
We're not going to talk about that.
All right, folks, I have a ton of research in the show notes for you guys. Feel free to check them out. Click on the links. Give these authors and the different bloggers and stuff and places that I grabbed some of this information, give them some love, give them a follow, let them know that it was useful to you.
And if you guys have any questions that we didn't cover regarding lube, and we are going to try to actually get some manufacturer reps on the show to talk about this and have a little debate, fireside chat, if you will, regarding, lube, feel free to shoot us your questions.
Yeah, shoot us some questions that we can ask these guys for you if we missed something. And of course, if you have something else that you're dying to know way too much information about, we got all science and learned you this episode.
Yay,
let
science.
us know. Oh, science. Woohoo. Hey, Mallory, it's been a while.
Hi.
You want to tell everybody where to find us?
But I just gave you sweet love this weekend.
That too.
Oh, that's not what you're talking about.
No, but I'd like some more.
Yes. So we are Casual Swinger everywhere. You can find us at casualswinger.com, and feel free to shoot us a message, podcast at casualswinger.com. See, I remembered where we live. We are also on social media as Casual Swinger. That is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And then you can find us on the dating sites, Double Date Nation, SLS, SDC, and Cassidy.
And I think that's pretty much the complete list.
That is.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Hope you enjoyed this exploration of lube we called Slippery When Wet. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.
Gotta keep lubricated.